says that we are live, but I'm not seeing. Let me see my phone real quick. Oh, yeah, it is. Test.
Yeah.
Test. That works. All right, we are live. Welcome to a special edition. Well, actually, the first real podcast of this new NBA season. And I got my man, Coach AC from Sunrise Christian Academy in Kansas. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, just to give our people, our audience, some context, you will be joining me at least once a week as we get more comfortable. Obviously, we became good friends over our trip in the Bahamas with Buddy Hield. You went out there, coached the kids up in the Elite 24 camp. We had a great time. And I just loved your basketball knowledge, which is why I decided to bring you on, and obviously, I'm glad that you accepted. Thank you so much, my man. Let's make this a great show. We are going over ESPN's latest rankings. Lots of question marks there, and we'll discuss that. And then the Cory Joseph dynamic. Bleacher Report came out with an article saying that he is the best point guard at his position. He's the best defensive point guard. And to me, I like to hear those type of things because he's part of the Kings, but I'm gonna keep it real, man. There's no way. But yeah, just let's start off with who you are and how awesome your team will be this season.
Um, my full name's Achoki Moikobu. I go by AC. It's a lot easier. So, I'm a prep school basketball coach at we're one of the top prep schools in the country, Sunrise Christian. We've had players like Buddy Hield, of course, but 65 Division I players in the last 10 years. So I've only been here for 5 of them. It's been an unreal experience for me from the people I've met and all the kids that I've touched. So, I'm thankful. It's a really, really good environment to grow and get experience, and as well as become rich in relationships. So,
What would you say is the best thing about coaching?
I love player development. I love to see a player go from point A to point B. So, I like to see kids, who need guidance, and we can take them as coaches places that they can't go by themselves. So, when a kid really, really, my favorite thing about coaching is when a kid drops his guard and allows you in his heart and allows you and really, really, really trusts you. And then that's to me when you see the most improvement in the kid. You see obviously the recruitment go up, and then results take off from there. So you can almost feel it, man. It's like an addicting feeling. It's an itch you can't scratch in anything else. Um, just again, it's something special. So.
I really did see that from you and the rest of the coaches, just that passion, that fire, and those kids responded, right? No attitudes, no nonsense. Obviously, they weren't the most skilled, but they wanted it bad. They were diving on the floor, just being awesome kids, and that really stood out to me because, as we know, in the AAU circuit, there's a lot of entitled kids who are extremely talented, but at the same time, you're like, man, why can't you be humble about things? So
Yep.
definitely, I do see what you're saying. Cory Joseph, again, not ESPN, Bleacher Report just came out with the article saying that he is the best at his position when it comes to defense. Just quick initial thoughts on that.
No disrespect to the Sacramento fan base. My first initial reaction is, who does he play for? Last I heard, maybe the Pacers.
No.
But doing some research, I know he's with the Kings now. I like Cory Joseph. I think he's a good defender, but to give him the crown, to me is insane. So um, he's a backup point guard.
Hmm.
Now, I'm guessing for majority of those minutes, say he plays 21 minutes a game, maybe 14 of those he's playing against backup point guards that you and I can guard. So um, it was a head scratcher. It was a head scratcher for sure. So I've got a couple numbers here. Let's look at his last two performances. So the World Cup, FIBA World Cup
Hmm.
2019 just took place. Um, the first round, Dennis Schroeder 21-10.
Okay.
Okay, 21-10. Granted, he shot 5 for 13. But to say that he was 10 for 12 on the free throw line just makes me think that he was, kind of getting to where he wanted to go. So to me, again, if you're a good defender, you keep the ball in front of you. Again, Dennis Schroeder is one of the most inefficient players in the NBA. So, and then in the first round, okay, I'm sorry, Dennis Schroeder would have been the elimination round. First round was Matthew Dellavedova. Matthew Dellavedova, 24-5. Okay, 9 for 13 shooting. So again, two, pretty average players. Um, both were victorious against Team Canada. And both had really really good games. So I don't see
Okay.
it. I don't see it. What do you think?
Okay. So they're justifying it by saying that they used certain metrics, which the first one was defensive row plus minus, defensive box plus minus, defensive win shares, and defensive ratings. He graded out pretty well, but again, contextually speaking, as you pointed out, say 15 minutes came against backup point guards. That's very important to contextualize. I do like him though as a perimeter defender. It's something that the Kings haven't had last year. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Bogdan as a trio were very bad defensively. He's gonna help the perimeter defense. But when I think about an overall good defensive guard, I think of Drew Holiday as the standard. A
No
guy who's
doubt.
just he's just the a guy that's a clamper. I think of Klay Thompson. I think of Lonzo Ball, Patrick Beverly, etc. Those type of guys. Cory Joseph, again, like him a lot, but contextually speaking, he is a backup point guard, and role matters. I don't know how good he would grade out if he would play massive minutes against starting point guards. As you said,
Mm-hmm.
Shooter just dominated him. And again, Shooter's super fast, maybe one of the fastest point guards in the game, but super inefficient. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a fine line of I'm happy Cory Joseph is a nice backup. He can do things that the Kings need, which again, perimeter defense is a big emphasis. And as you know, Buddy needs to improve in that area. He's working on that, which is a good thing.
Another point is, I just thought about this while you were talking. He's played for San Antonio.
Right?
He's played for
Toronto.
Indiana Pacers, and he played for the Toronto Raptors. Okay, three like really, really, really good defensive teams. So, more college, basketball than the NBA. But the other four guys that you're on the court with, they affect who you're guarding as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
those are three really good team defensive teams. Like they're really good. As a unit, as opposed to they do things as a unit as opposed to just individual defense. So I think that may affect the numbers as well. He's just
Right.
been blessed to play for some really, really, really good defensive teams.
Exactly. That's a great point. I haven't really thought about it like that, but you are correct. So that's what we think about that. Corey Joseph, again, good for the Kings. They brought in a guy who is high character, has been on winning teams. He's bringing that attitude which the Kings need. And we'll talk about expectations in a little bit. But right off the bat, with ESPN's new rankings, I couldn't believe I saw Clay at number 49. You telling me there's 48 better players than him, AC?
No, no chance, no chance. I mean, is it crazy to say Klay Thompson is borderline an All NBA player?
He is an All NBA player.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, to
I'm not the best
me,
at math,
Kyrie.
but
Okay, Kemba, Kyrie, And someone else did not deserve to make it over Klay Thompson. And Klay Thompson got snubbed of $30 million last year because he didn't make that team, which to
Right.
me was insane. I thought he was better than all three of those guys. It was Russell, Kyrie, and Kemba. Klay was better
Mm-hmm.
than all three of them, especially when you break it down to winning games.
Yep.
He
Yep.
impacts winning, and you can't take that for granted. That's all he's done. As you said, he says it's crazy. I can't believe there's 12 guys better than me in the league. Like, to me, he's definitely a top
Yeah. Let
12 to
alone
15 player.
40.
Fuck. Oh my goodness. So
And I mean,
just
I think without Clay, there's no how many rings there's the Warriors have won. Like
no.
there's no Golden State Warriors dynasty without Clay Thompson. One is unselfishness, and then two is versatility defensively. Obviously, his shooting is really really good. I just think he checks a lot of boxes, and he can literally play for every team in the NBA. Because again, I think he's a
Every
selfish superstar. And, maybe he does need to be a little bit more selfish. So
every team. That is a big fact. You have guys like Bojan, John Collins, DeMar DeRozan, no way. Aaron Gordon, maybe in the future. He has a lot of potential.
Aaron Gordon,
Yeah, he's 24 still. But no, he's not better today, for sure. I'm just
no
saying,
chance.
if you're projecting 5 years from now, maybe, but nowhere does it say that.
And it's a maybe.
Yeah. Miles Turner, no way. Kevin Love, no way. Zion, no way. How is Zion a top 42 player already? He hasn't played a game. He hasn't played a second
Yeah.
in the NBA. Come
And
on.
a lot of these, ESPN does a really, really, really good job of
Yeah.
it's that kind of weird gray area between the off season and not much is going on. And they drop
Yeah.
these rankings like at this time of the year for a reason. You know what I
Right.
mean? They kind of get us to talk about it. And I think that's the Zion being placed there. But man, Klay Thompson, like he should feel really, really disrespected. So he's got the right to at least.
Correct. Sacramento Kings, we got Marvin Bagley at number 69. How do you feel about that?
Well, if we're gonna do upside, if we're gonna give Aaron Gordon upside, I think it's fair to put Marvin Bagley, 20 spots higher. Um,
Right.
I think if they redrafted, Marvin Bagley goes 3, 2.
In that draft?
Yeah,
No way. At least not for me. I think that 2018 class is stacked. I mean, you got Trae Young, Luka Doncic.
after that, I'm arguing Marvin.
Are you? You got Aiden. Which I think Marvin's a little bit better. No,
Yeah, I think Aiden's closer to his ceiling.
I'd go Jaren Jackson over Marvin Bagley.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean he's definitely top 5.
In a
Okay.
loaded draft class.
In a,
So I
in
mean,
a
I just
loaded
think
draft class.
you're talking potential. I mean, I
Right.
think he should be, at least in the top 50.
For sure. So we got Buddy Hield at 59. I know E-Man had retweeted Sports Illustrated and Buddy quoted E-Man. He was like, he essentially said no way, right? And that's how every player should feel disrespected because they think they're better, and that's the right attitude. So at 59, do you feel that was fair? Because I can't name 58 better players than Buddy Hield.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, I think what's the write up on him? Probably defensively.
Yeah,
He doesn't really affect the game defensively, but numbers are showing now in 2019, 2020 season like offense wins games. So
okay. I definitely agree with that. Just the fact that he's a record-breaking three-point sniper. Besides the Splash Brothers, he's definitely up there, and he's gonna continue to be up there for so many years, barring injury. So we got that. We have. How about this one? Lou Williams at 58. There's 57 better players than Lou Williams. AC.
no chance.
I was like, what?
Yeah, that's production. That's. Yeah, I don't know where they're getting these numbers from. So I got another one for you. This is an interesting. I actually brought this up to a friend of mine earlier. Jason Tatum over Chris Middleton. Obviously, potential, no doubt, Jason Tatum. But
Disrespectful.
yeah, yeah, like
Come on.
until you do something and your numbers back you up, and I would say Chris Middleton over Jason Tatum
In a
as of last
heartbeat.
year.
In a heartbeat. Oh my gosh.
Chris Paul
This
32.
is
Chris Paul can't get by E-Man.
well, maybe even. But yeah, you're right. No shade throwing.
Sorry, E-Man.
Yeah. We got De'Aaron Fox making it to the top 25. See, that's where I don't understand these rankings. Is this based on projecting him 5 years from now, or is this right now?
Yeah, it's inconsistent. Very inconsistent. I wouldn't crown De'Aaron over Drew Holiday. Not yet. That could happen this season,
Right.
but not this moment.
So we got Booker at 30, Tobias at 29, Trey at 28. That's what I'm saying. Like Jamal at 27, D'Angelo at 26, Mike Conley at 24. He's a hell of a player. One of the most underrated players ever, I would say. I just don't understand the inconsistency from these rankings. Again, I would love to say objectively that Fox is 25. Again, I think he can be higher in terms of projecting him. He
No
can
doubt.
be top 10 in the near future if that jump shot becomes consistent. Because no one can affect a game in transition like De'Aaron Fox besides the Greek Freak, right?
No doubt. No doubt.
Jimmy Butler at 21. Is that shocking to you? Is that right around where he should be?
Um, yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I've never been a huge Jimmy Butler fan. Um, just because I want to see him in the postseason. Um, what he can kind of do in the postseason. So I've never been a huge Jimmy Butler fan.
Okay, people are saying in the chat, I don't like how Zion is over Bagley. Thoughts on that?
Again, I think that may be a little bit of to kind of stir the pot up a little bit, but I'm a Zion fan. So Sacramento Kings to you is like New Orleans Pelicans to me. So
Okay.
again, more of my background, man. I played point guard. I wasn't a very good player, but I did play the position. And I was into Chris Paul. Like Chris Paul was my Michael Jordan. He was Slam magazine. He was over my bed. And I kind of fell in love with like the New Orleans Hornets. So New Orleans Hornets, obviously, previously they're now they're the New Orleans Pelicans. So I ride for the New Orleans Pelicans, just like you ride for the Sacramento Kings.
But we're
But
both objective in that way. Obviously, we have that homerism to them to some extent, but at the same time, we're not going to go and say, well, they're both going to go to the Western Conference Finals or they're both going to win a playoff series. I don't see that happening. I hope that happens. Um, so you say Pelicans. Do
mhm.
you think the Pelicans are on the same level as the Kings this season?
um, just behind them,
Okay.
right behind them. I think obviously injuries can play a role into this, but I think Sacramento did a really, 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 really good job of
Depth.
getting like veteran guys that fit. Like you said, Cory Joseph is not a sexy pickup, but again, like I think that makes sense next to Buddy and Bogdan. I think, you know, I think who's the five they got from Atlanta?
Deadman.
Dedmon. I think Dwayne Dedmon's huge. He's a stretch five next to an isolation big like Marvin Bagley. Um, I just think they got a lot of pieces that made a lot of sense, and you guys were right there last year.
Right. 39 wins. A lot of the projections, though, they're giving the Pelicans a lot of love and the Kings a lot of hate. They say the Kings will get worse, which to me is mind-boggling because Fox, Buddy, and Bagley will just organically get better. Wouldn't you agree with that?
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, I think even Bogdan. I think Bogdan had a
Right.
really good summer. Um, I think he's going to really pace that second unit. I think obviously Marvin Bagley is a stud. Um, but I agree. I think those guys are only going to improve.
And to add some context to Bogdan, he was injured most of last season. He just didn't say anything. His knee was effed up, and he now looks healthy. That Bogdan you saw with Serbia is the Bogdan we saw his rookie season. So it's going to be interesting to see how he fits into this new Luke Walton system, right? What is his system? What's his philosophy like? We know that with the Lakers, his offense was one of the worst in the NBA, but his defensive development with players is very good, and that's where the Kings lack, which is defense. Which I do like that fit. They're going to be a team that plays run and gun, that's going to lead the NBA in pace with a guy like De'Aaron Fox to leading the way. So we'll see how that turns out. Someone said, could Zion be put in the position like a Luka Doncic this season?
I'll let you go first.
I don't think he'll be as effective or as impactful as Luka, only because he's not as skilled as him. Obviously, he's way more athletic, but I value skill, IQ, feel over athleticism any day of the week, which is why I was so high on Luka over Bagley, over Aiden, over everybody in that draft class. But if you can use Zion, say, it's just in the Spain pick and roll as that second back pick, and how he can just roll and Lonzo can just throw those lobs, I think he'd be so effective. It's just unfair in that type of a set with him.
Yeah, I think he's more skilled than people give him credit for.
Okay.
I think he's a really good under the rim finisher. I think he's got some moves on the perimeter to like lose his defender and touch the paint. I think he's got a smooth jump shot, but I think he's got a low release point that needs to be fixed. I think he's an underrated passer. So I mean, I think he's gonna eventually be like a queen on the chessboard type guy where you can just put anywhere on the floor and he's gonna make plays. So and then the thing that people forget, man, is like you can't measure what's beaten inside of his chest, which is his heart. Like
Right.
that, it's like Russell Westbrook. Like Russell Westbrook has holes in his game, skill wise, in my opinion.
No
Um,
doubt.
but he's relentless. So I think Zion's got a little bit of that.
Russell Westbrook, Houston Rockets. I think it's going to be a mess. How do you feel about that situation?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense on paper, but I just think when the game slows down in the playoffs, like there's just going to be too many schemes working against them. You're going to be able to shrink the floor. I think those two personalities, I think is like oil and water. I think it's a long shot, but if it does work, I think the league's in trouble.
It could work. It has that low percentage. I wouldn't bet on it because of his style of play. For him to be efficient, you would have to take the ball away from James Harden. I don't
For
see
sure.
that happening. Why would Mike ever do that? There's ego involved, right? You know that. And James is at a point where he is last year's MVP. He will be an MVP candidate, barring injury, every single year for the rest, I would say, for the next 3 to 4 years for sure. So,
Russell did a good job deferring to Paul George. I think Paul George had a really really good year last year. Because Russell Westbrook, I don't want to use the word took a step back, but I do think he deferred in certain times of the game to kind of give Paul George the confidence to kind of have a really really good year.
that's fair. I think from that perspective, it's a positive for a Houston Rockets fan. But I still don't see how, if their goal is to win a championship, Russell Westbrook playing off the ball, how effective can he truly be? He's one of the most inefficient players in the NBA on the perimeter. Like, he really can't shoot. He struggled. He had one of the most miserable seasons of his career last season. Actually, the worst season ever. Uh, can he have a Jason Kidd type turnaround career in his early to mid 30s? Of course he can, but it's gonna take a lot of sacrifice. And is he willing to be that second guy now? Because last year you say he deferred, but he knew he was a man, right?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Okay.
He deferred and
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like again, his selfishness like caused it to explode. So I agree. But D'Antoni is a mad scientist, man. Like
He is. I love
he's
that guy.
crunching numbers right now and he's figuring it out. Trust me, he ain't sleeping. And if he does figure it out, man, it's gonna be scary.
All right. Some people are saying, obviously, hello from Charlotte. Avery Bradley is ready for Patrick Beverly. Talk about that rivalry in LA. It's going to be fun to watch. Do you see the Lakers giving the Clippers a run for the money, or is it the Clippers all day long, every day?
I think it's the Lakers, man. Again, I'm a
Really?
huge Pelicans fan. People forget how good Anthony Davis is.
Okay.
Like in some, like I would almost put him in a category above or next to like Giannis. He was just tucked away in New Orleans, so I just think he's a winner. I think he affects both sides of the ball. I think Anthony Davis. I think the world of Anthony
Is
Davis.
he an
I just
alpha
think
dog, though? I don't think he is.
I think it's hard now for a five man, which he's a five,
Right?
to be your cornerstone franchise. It's hard to build around a five. I think it's hard to be an alpha as a five because you're not coming off a ball screen. You're not at the top
That's
of the key
fair.
making every single
Exactly.
decision. Like if the ball goes into you, like everyone stands. Like I just think it's hard now with ball movement, player movement being so important to kind of build around a five.
And that's why I'm kind of skeptical on them beating the Clippers because both of those team or that team has two really good wings, and both you and I would agree that we would go point guard wing over a big almost every time, right?
For sure. For sure.
But do you see that Laker depth beating that depth of the Clippers?
No, no chance.
Because that
No
bench
chance.
is you got Lou Williams, Montrez coming off the bench. It's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, LeBron James. That's not we
Yeah.
have how do we go this conversation without
Yeah.
mentioning LeBron James?
Almost. We almost did. Someone
So
says, "Do you think Buddy's 3-point shot is going to get better this season?" I'll let you answer that one.
yes. Yes. I think everything will be better for Buddy. I think he's one of those dudes you can't really doubt. You put something in front of him and he's gonna go get it. So what was he, 43% from three
Mm-hmm.
last year? I could I could
Yeah, he was.
I could legitimately think 46 is not out of this world. So I think the league average is going up. The more people are valuing the three. So now 46 is the new. No, I think in a few years 50 is going to be the new 40.
You think so?
I think it's possible.
I don't know. It's you would think, right? But just watching him shoot, like this guy is just a sniper. He that's his art. But at the same time, when the pressure's on, 50%, man. Has
Yeah,
anyone ever done that? Like at a high volume clip rate?
not that I know of, but I do know 37 is the new average. Back in the day, say even 10 years ago, 37 is like you're either one or two on your team.
Yeah.
Now that's just average.
Some people are saying, "What's up from Australia? How's everybody doing? How many wins will the Kings have, AC?"
What were they at last year? They were
39.
39. I'd say 40,
40?
44,
Okay. That's where I have them too. I have them
44.
anywhere from 43 to 46. So we align right there. Now, before I let you go, give me your top 8 teams in the West. In no
Top
order.
8 teams in the West. Okay. Does it need to be in order?
No.
Okay.
Which
Obviously you
top
got.
team? Which 8 teams will make the playoffs in the West?
Okay. You got obviously Clippers. You got the Lakers and Utah up top. I think Denver takes a step back.
Okay.
Okay, but I'll put them at 4. I love what Portland did. Obviously Nurkic won't be back all year, right?
I don't know about all year, but he'll miss most of the year.
So it's kind of scary to rely on Hassan Whiteside, but I'm gonna put them in five because I like what they did with their depth. Um, I think Houston.
Okay.
Um,
6.
and this is where it gets a little tricky, doesn't it?
You got the Warriors, the Kings, the Spurs. Oof.
Warriors 7.
Okay.
Jeez.
It's
And I'm
hard.
going. I'm going. This is gonna be the boring pick, and I'm sorry, but I'm going San Antonio 8.
Okay, so you're sticking with Popovich in that system. One more
Yep.
year.
Yep. I think Popovich is fired up too. I think he's getting some heat for the this past summer. I think he's fired up, and again he's still really 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 good. So
Okay. My
sorry,
thing with
Sack.
that team is, will Rudy Gay have an amazing year again? Will Marco Bellinelli, will that bench be as effective as they were last year? Can they replicate that? Is the question for me. Obviously, they had a lot of injuries, and they're coming back with DeJounte Murray, who's a hell of a defender. Uh, Lonnie Walker may have some minutes this year. Obviously, you got Derek White. I like what they have, no doubt. But if DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, who are good players, are your best players, I'm going to take De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Bagley and have the exact same 7, but with the Kings in there.
Right,
I
right, and,
just
and a lot of
I just think last year the Kings just matched up so well against the Spurs, beat their butt up. Just matchups wise, they don't match up with that speed and athleticism, and I feel like
mhm.
that's gonna catch up to them this year.
Yeah, but they have two All Stars. You know,
Yeah,
not a lot of teams have two All Stars and probably the best coach in the NBA. Not a top five guy, of all time at the tail end of his career. Probably trying to put the period and the exclamation mark at that on his career. So, um, and my friends are gonna get on me for this because I love me some Trey Lyles. So,
I like him.
why I don't know. I don't know, but I just feel like he's one of those guys that kind of like Derek White last year, who had a really really good year. I think Popovich is going to press all the right buttons. I think Trey Lyles. I think the world of Trey Lyles. Man, I think he's gonna have a really, really, really good year. And then again, they have two All Stars. So Sacramento, technically has future All Stars. But again, people forget, the Spurs have two guys that they can kind of really, really depend on that have been there.
That's fair. Okay, one last question for you before I let you go. How much is Bagley going to improve? Is he going to make that second year leap Fox did? Go ahead.
He's got to look himself in the mirror and say, "I'm a 5. I'm gonna
Facts.
be a really, really, really good 5. I'm gonna set good picks. I'm gonna slip, and I'm gonna. These guys are gonna space the floor with Buddy in one corner, Bogan in one corner, Ariza in the other at the slot,
Barnes,
and I'm
yeah.
gonna have all this space, and I'm just gonna be a play finisher. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start my game as a play finisher first. I'm gonna catch lobs. I'm gonna catch drop offs and things that Anthony Davis is okay doing.
Yep.
He has to do that stuff first, and then I think end of the game, I think if he does that, he's your isolation late clock guy. So, but he has to buy into being a elite rim runner first. At the mismatch type of 5 position. So
Perfect answer. Couldn't agree more. So that's going to do it, guys. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this first episode with my guy, AC. We'll be doing this a lot more. I know someone complained about the echo. We're going to try to fix that for the next one. I wasn't aware that Google took away Hangouts, which y'all know we've never had issues with it. But using Skype now, got to fix some things, some technical things. But we'll be back with more content. Appreciate you, AC. Thank you so much for coming on. And let's connect potentially next week.
no doubt, no doubt. Thanks for having me, brother.